If you're watching this video, you want to buy a property in Spain, or you already bought a property and you want to know exactly how much tax you're going to pay when you hold it, when you're going to sell it, or when you're going to buy it. So in this video, I'm going to explain you exactly what kind of taxes are involved in Spanish real estate, because we all know the Spanish government, they love their taxes. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Okay, let's start first with the purchase taxes. So when you buy a property, there's a difference between new properties, new build, or resale properties. So properties that are coming from an owner, second-hand properties. So let's start first with the new build, the new construction properties. Here in Spain, you pay value added tax of 10% on the property, plus a stamp duty of 1.5%. So in total, it's going to be 11.5%. So let's take an example. We have a 300,000 property, then it's 11.5%. That is 34,500 euros in taxes. So that's for a new build property in Spain. Okay, let's go to the resale properties now. So in Spain you pay ITP, this is the transfer tax, and the amount, it depends on the area you're buying in. So in different areas they have different price ranges. For example, in Catalonia it's 10%, while in Madrid it's 6%. So it's very important that you check, where I'm buying, how much is the transfer tax, so you know exactly how much you're going to pay in transfer tax. Let's do a calculation. On a property of 300,000 euros, the transfer tax is then 10%. In Catalonia, for example, in Barcelona, we have a nice apartment over here. Then that will be 30,000 euros in tax you have to pay 30 days after closing, within 30 days after closing when you buy the property. So 10% on resale and 11.5% on new builds. Okay, very important thing. An add-on is Spain calculates the transfer tax based on the reference value, not on the purchase price. So imagine you buy a property for 300,000 euros, but the reference value is 330,000 euros. They need to pay transfer tax 10% over the 330,000 euros instead of the 300,000 euros. So that they check, okay, what's the reference value of this property. So always before you buy, just check with your real estate agent or lawyer how much is the reference value, because I mean it's not going to be that much of a difference, but still, like, you don't want to come with a surprise that you have to pay 2,000-3,000 euros more. But the good news is, if you have to pay more, then you at least bought a good deal because you bought below the reference value. So that's the good side of it. Yes, you rented out your property for a while, or you did a fix and flip and you want to sell the property. Then you have to pay capital gains tax. So in Spain, they tax the difference between what you paid for the property and what you're selling for. And then they charge capital gains tax. So we're going to go to these different tax brackets because it's a bit more complicated. So first, if you're a Spanish resident, the lowest tax you're going to pay is 19%. And this is up to 6,000 euros. So up to the first 6,000 euros, you pay 19%. So again, it's a progressive tax bracket. So then the second step will be 6,001 euros, and 50,000 euros of profit will be taxed 21%. Then 50,000 and above to up to 200,000 euros will be taxed 23%. Gain of 200,001 up to 300,000 euros will be taxed 27%. And everything that is over 300,000 euros will be taxed 30%. So everything over 300,000 euros in profit will be taxed 30%. Then for EU resident, it's again flat rate of 90%. So if you're non-resident and you live, for example, in Germany, the Netherlands, or another country in EU, and you sell your property, you pay 19% over the profit you make. Then if you're non-EU resident, it's again taxed on 24%. So actually it's funny, because if you're a non-resident living in Europe, you pay less capital gains tax than someone that lives in Spain. So that's kind of interesting that they charge their residents more than someone that lives, even if you're a non-EU resident, you can pay less tax if you have a big profit. So that's interesting. Some other taxes you have to take into account are your annual taxes. So in Spain they charge you property tax, this is called IBI, and the rate depends also on the area you live in or where you bought the property. So it's going to be based on the cadastral value, and it's around 0.4 up to 1.3% per year. So let's take an easy example. Here they charge that 0.6% and the cadastral value is 100,000 euros. You have to pay 600 euros a year. So it all depends how much is the cadastral value of your property and what is the rate of the place where the property is registered or is based charges. So then you can calculate how much. But usually when you buy the property or when you're going to do the diligence, you can ask, oh, how much is the EB? And then they give you the amount of property tax you have to pay. I think in Spain the property tax here are not that expensive. If you look at other countries, it's quite okay. So for example, me, I pay like 800 or 900 euros a year for the property tax. And I think that's not too bad. Some other taxes like garbage tax, that's around 150 up to 300 euros a year, and it varies by city. And then there's wealth tax, and this is only applicable if you're a resident in Spain, and they calculate your total wealth, and if it's above 700,000 euros for a household, you're going to be taxed also on a progressive rate. Depending on where you live, it's going to be between 0.2 up to 2.75%. And it only applies if you live in Spain. So if you're a non-resident, you don't have to worry about this tax. Recently in the news, there was a new law proposed about the transfer tax increase on non-EU resident buyers over 100%. Yeah, you hear this right, 100% transfer tax. This is of course a ridiculous amount, and it's gonna destroy, in my opinion, the luxury real estate market. It's still a proposal. We have to see if it's gonna pass, yes or no. From this date, on this video is still a proposal. So we have to see if it's going to pass, yes or no. But maybe if you're a non-EU resident, buyer, investor, it's better to not wait. And if you want to buy something in Spain, take already action before this potential law passes, because who's going to pay 100% transfer tax? We all can pay some tax, but of course it needs to be a fair amount, and 100% in my opinion is just outrageous. So I'm very against this law, but of course it's the Spanish government and the Spanish people that decide their own fate, but in my opinion it's not good for the real estate industry. So let's see what's going to happen, but just to be aware of this proposal. Yes, you can buy all the real estate on your own name, or you can buy the real estate through a company. It's called an SL. So you can set up a company here and then buy the real estate through the company. This can be very beneficial, for example, if you're a non-EU resident and you want to pay lower taxes, or you're going to be a serious real estate investor and you want to scale up your portfolio, then you can use a company vehicle to deduct a lot of expenses. You can get your VAT back. So in the end, it can work out better if you build up a big portfolio. Of course, if you're gonna just buy one property, it's not really worth it because you have your accounting expenses to set up the company, etc. It's just better to just do it on your own name if you just buy one property. But if you're gonna buy more, it's better to set up an SL. Another strategy I see my clients using is having a holding company outside of Spain. For example, a Dutch company owns the Spanish SL. It gives a loan from the Netherlands to Spain with a normal interest rate. Then the Spanish SL uses that loan to buy real estate and then pays off the loan back to Netherlands with the interest rate. Then you can also pay the dividends back to the holding company. You have to see where the holding company is based to see if you have to pay any dividend withholding tax. So double check the double tax treaties if the dividend withholding tax applies, yes or no. Ask an international tax lawyer for advice and help them set up with your best tax strategy. Myself, I'm just a real estate guy. I'm not a tax advisor guy, so don't pin me on this. If you want professional support, go to an international tax advisor. I can refer you to a company in Barcelona that helps a lot of my clients. So if you're interested, send me a DM and I get you in touch with them. Yes, we're at the end of the video, and Spanish taxes are of course not the most sexy subject, but it's important to know because you want to know how much money you're gonna have in your pocket. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in Spanish real estate, please send me a DM and we can see how we can help you further. Again, thank you for watching and see you next time.